I grew up in my grandmother's house, surrounded by warmth and love. She wasn't just my grandmother, she was my best friend, my protector, and the only person who ever truly understood me. While my parents were always too busy with their own lives and my siblings never cared much about family bonds, Grandma made sure I never felt alone. Her house was my safe haven, the place where I felt loved, accepted, and free to be myself. I remember running through the wide halls as a child, my laughter echoing off the old wooden walls. The scent of fresh cookies always filled the air because Grandma loved baking, and she always made sure there was something sweet waiting for me when I came home from school. On cold winter nights, she would wrap me in a thick blanket and tell me stories by the fireplace. Every corner of that house held a memory, a piece of my childhood that I never wanted to let go of. But for my parents and siblings, Grandma's house was just another property, a place they visited on holidays out of obligation rather than love. They never truly valued her, only showing up for Thanksgiving or Christmas, bringing gifts they didn't put much thought into. While I spent my weekends helping Grandma in the garden or sitting with her as she knitted, they rarely called or checked on her. It always made me sad, but Grandma would just smile and say, "Not everyone understands the value of love, my dear." As Grandma grew older, I started noticing how frail she was becoming. She still had that same warm smile, but her hands trembled slightly when she poured tea and she walked a little slower than before. It scared me to think of a world without her, but she always reassured me, saying, "One day you'll have this house and you'll keep our memories alive." At the time I didn't think much of it. I just wanted her to stay with me forever. Then one day everything changed. Grandma fell ill and no amount of medicine or care could make her better. I spent every moment by her side, holding her hand, listening to her voice grow weaker with each passing day. She would still smile at me, still stroke my hair gently, even when she barely had the strength to move. And then on a quiet evening she whispered, "This house is yours. Don't let anyone take it away from you," before she closed her eyes for the last time. Losing her shattered me. The house that had once been filled with warmth and laughter now felt empty. I walked through the rooms, touching the walls, trying to hold on to the memories, but all I felt was the ache of her absence. While I was grieving, my family seemed to have different priorities. Just days after the funeral, they started discussing her will, barely hiding their excitement about what they might inherit. When the lawyer gathered us for the reading, I sat there feeling numb, barely listening, until I heard the words that changed everything. Grandma had left the house to me. A heavy silence filled the room before my father spoke. "This is ridiculous," he said, his face turning red. My mother's mouth hung open in shock, and my siblings exchanged glances, unable to believe what they had just heard. "This house belongs to the family," my father continued, his voice rising. "You can't just keep it for yourself." I looked at them, confused and hurt. "Grandma wanted me to have it. She told me herself." "You're being selfish," my father snapped. "You think you deserve this house more than the rest of us?" I could barely process what was happening. I had lost the one person who truly loved me, and now my family was acting like I had done something wrong by inheriting the house. I thought they would at least respect Grandma's wishes, but I was wrong. Instead of mourning her loss, they were furious that they wouldn't be able to sell the house and split the money. I had always known my family wasn't the most loving, but at that moment, I realized just how little I mattered to them compared to their greed. And that was only the beginning of the nightmare that was about to unfold. I refused to sign anything. No matter how many times they asked, begged, or even tried to guilt-trip me, I stood my ground. This house wasn't just a piece of property to be sold. It was my home, my childhood, my last connection to Grandma. But my family didn't see it that way. They kept pressuring me, taking turns trying to convince me that selling was the logical choice. My father sat me down and gave me a lecture about how family should share everything. My mother tried a different approach, telling me that Grandma would have wanted us all to benefit from the house. My siblings weren't as subtle. They bluntly told me I was being selfish, that keeping the house was unfair, and that I was holding on to memories that didn't pay bills. I stopped answering their calls. I started avoiding family gatherings, knowing every conversation would lead back to the same topic. But they didn't stop. They would show up at my door unannounced, telling me I was making a mistake, reminding me that I didn't need a big house all to myself. Every time I told them no, I saw the frustration in their eyes grow stronger. One evening I came home from work, exhausted. I had been dealing with a stressful day and all I wanted was to step inside, take off my shoes and sink into the couch. But the moment I reached the front door, I felt my heart stop. The locks were different. My key didn't fit. Panic shot through me as I tried again, jiggling the key, hoping I was just imagining things. But deep down I already knew. Something was terribly wrong. I ran to the windows and peered inside. My furniture was gone. The pictures I had on the walls, Grandma's old clock, the little trinkets she had left behind, all of it had disappeared. It looked like the house had been emptied out completely. I started pounding on the door, shouting. My heart was racing so fast I thought I might pass out. This was my home. My house. I had never agreed to sell it, so how was this happening? Then I heard a voice behind me. You're making a scene. I spun around to see my mother standing there, arms crossed, looking completely unbothered by my distress. What did you do? My voice shook with disbelief. Where is my stuff? What happened to my house? She smirked, and that smirk sent a chill down my spine. We decided for you, she said smoothly. It was for the best. My father and siblings appeared behind her, all of them standing there like they had done nothing wrong. My father let out an exaggerated sigh as if I was being dramatic. You were never going to do the right thing, he said. So we did it for you. The house is sold. I felt like the ground beneath me had collapsed. My body went numb. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. No need to thank us, my brother added with a smug grin. We got a great deal. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had told them over and over again that I wasn't going to sell. I had made it clear that this house meant everything to me. And yet they had gone behind my back and done it anyway. You had no right. I finally choked out. My hands were shaking, my head spinning. This house was mine. You stole it from me. Oh, stop being so dramatic, my mother scoffed. It's just a house. You'll get over it. I couldn't even breathe. They had taken the one thing that mattered most to me, and they didn't even feel guilty. There wasn't a single trace of remorse in their eyes. To them, I was just an obstacle that had finally been removed. I clenched my fist. I wanted to scream, to fight, to undo everything they had done. But how? The house was already sold. My home was gone. I felt betrayed beyond words. My own family had stabbed me in the back, and I had no idea how to get justice. But one thing was certain. I wasn't going to let them get away with this. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel, feeling completely lost. My home was gone. My family had betrayed me in the worst way possible, and I had no idea how to fight back. My whole life I had trusted them even when they didn't deserve it. And now they had stolen the one thing that mattered most to me, leaving me with nothing but heartbreak. Tears blurred my vision as I replayed my mother's smug words in my head. We decided for you. It was for the best. The sheer audacity of it made my stomach turn. They had no right. No right at all. But what could I do? The house had already been sold. Then a memory flashed in my mind. Grandma's voice, gentle but firm, from a conversation we'd had long ago. Always be smart with contracts, my dear. The fine print is where the real power lies. My breath caught in my throat. Grandma had always been careful with legal matters. She had told me multiple times that she had made sure the house would remain protected. But in my grief, I had never thought to go through the documents carefully. A spark of hope ignited inside me. I had to check. I threw my car into drive and sped to my tiny apartment, my heart pounding in my chest. The moment I got inside, I tore through my drawers and cabinets, searching frantically. Then finally, at the bottom of an old box, I found it. The original copy of Grandma's will and the property documents. My hands trembled as I flipped through the pages, scanning every line. And then, there it was. A special clause. I read it once. Then again. My breath hitched. The house could not be sold without my approval. And if anyone attempted to do so, the sale would be declared void, and the property would be transferred fully to my name, removing any claim my family had over it. I let out a shaky laugh, barely able to believe what I was seeing. My family, in their greed and desperation, had completely overlooked this. They thought they had won, that they had taken everything from me, but they had unknowingly handed me the ultimate victory. I wasted no time. I pulled out my phone and called the best lawyer I could find. The moment I stepped into his office, I laid out all the documents in front of him, pointing at the clause. He read through everything carefully, his expression unreadable. Then, after what felt like an eternity, he leaned back in his chair and nodded. They never had the legal right to sell this house, he said. The sale is invalid. You still own the property. Relief flooded through me so quickly that I almost felt lightheaded. I had been ready to fight a battle I wasn't sure I could win, but now the law was on my side. My family had thought they could steal from me, lie to me, and get away with it. But they had no idea that Grandma had already protected me from their greed long before they even had the chance. Now it was time to make them pay. The restaurant was buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses as I walked in, my lawyer by my side. I scanned the room and spotted them at a large table in the center, celebrating. My father, my mother, my siblings. They were all grinning, toasting to what they believed was their great victory. My brother leaned back in his chair, boasting about how they had gotten such a good price for the house. My sister laughed, probably already planning what to do with her share of the money. My mother, the mastermind behind it all, had the most satisfied look on her face. They had no idea what was coming. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and walked toward their table. The moment they saw me, my father's smile wavered. My mother narrowed her eyes. My brother scoffed, shaking his head as if I were a joke. "What are you doing here?" my mother sneered. I didn't answer. Instead, I calmly pulled out a folder and placed it in the center of the table. "Read it," I said, my voice steady. "Go on." No one moved at first. My father hesitated, then reached out, flipping through the pages. As his eyes moved across the words, I watched the color drain from his face. This can't be right," he mumbled. My brother snatched the papers from him, scanning the lines. His expression shifted from confusion to sheer panic. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice rising. I folded my arms. The truth. The house was never yours to sell. Their shocked silence was everything I had hoped for. "The sale is void," my lawyer added firmly. "Legally, the house belongs solely to her now. Your transaction was never valid, which means any money you received from it must be returned." Immediately, panic erupted. My sister gasped. My brother shot to his feet, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "This is a joke, right?" he snapped. This can't be legal." My lawyer remained calm. "It is." My mother's hands trembled as she grabbed the papers, flipping through them as if she could somehow change the words by staring at them hard enough. "No," she whispered. Then louder, "Joe, you can't do this to us." I let out a small laugh. "I'm not doing anything to you," I said sweetly. "You did this to yourselves." She slammed the papers down and glared at me with pure hatred. "After everything we've done for you, you're seriously going to throw your own family out on the street?" My father nodded aggressively, jumping in. "We raised you, fed you, sheltered you, and this is how you repay us." I tilted my head. "Raised me? Grandma raised me. Grandma gave me a home. You only cared about her house when you saw dollar signs." My brother clenched his fists. "We already spent some of that money," he growled. I shrugged. "Not my problem." I watched as the realization set in. They weren't just losing the house. They were in deep financial trouble. The money they had greedily taken was now a debt they would have to pay back. My mother grabbed my arm, desperation creeping into her voice. "Please, sweetheart, we're family. You can't do this." I gently removed her hand. "I could have forgiven you," I said, looking at each of them. "If you had just asked for help, if you had just been honest instead of betraying me." I shook my head. "But you made your choice." Their faces were frozen in horror. I turned to my lawyer. "Let's go. I have a house to get back." As I walked away, I heard my mother sobbing, my father cursing under his breath, my brother whispering frantically about what to do next. But it was too late. Justice had been served. The moment the so-called buyer found out the sale was void, chaos erupted. I wasn't there to witness it firsthand, but I heard the details soon enough. The man who thought he had legally purchased my house was livid. He had already started making renovation plans, thinking he had secured a great deal. But now he realized he had been tricked, fooled into buying a house my family never had the right to sell. He wasted no time in taking action. A lawsuit was filed against my parents and siblings for fraud. The buyer wanted every penny back along with damages. The legal nightmare they had walked into was just beginning. And as expected, when things got tough, my family came running to me. They called non-stop. Left messages, sent texts, even showed up at my apartment. I ignored them at first, but when my mother started crying in my voicemail, claiming they were going to lose everything, I decided to face them. I agreed to meet at the house, my house. They were already there when I arrived, waiting on the porch like lost children. My father's face was grim, my mother was sniffling into a tissue, and my brother looked furious, like I was the villain in all this. You have to fix this, my father demanded the moment I stepped out of my car. I laughed coldly. I have to fix your mess? It's not just our mess, it's your family's mess, my mother wailed. Please, sweetheart, the lawsuit is ruining us. We could go to jail. I folded my arms. You should have thought about that before you stole from me. My brother groaned, rubbing his temples. Okay, fine, we get it, we messed up. But what's done is done. You got your house back, isn't that enough? Can't you just help us out? I stared at him in disbelief. Help you? After everything? My silence must have given them their answer because my father's face twisted in anger. You're being heartless. We're your family. I took a step forward, lowering my voice. No. Family doesn't do what you did. They kept begging, but I was done listening. I had already made arrangements. While they stood there pleading, a moving truck pulled up. Then another. And another. I had hired movers to clear every single thing my family had placed in my house. My mother's jaw dropped. What's going on? I gestured at the movers. I'm reclaiming what's mine. The movers wasted no time. They started hauling out furniture, clothes, boxes, everything my family had moved in when they thought the house belonged to them. My mother tried to stop them, but security I had hired stepped in. You can't do this, my brother shouted, grabbing one of my boxes. The security guard firmly took it from him. Step aside, sir. I smirked. Actually, I can do this. And I am doing this. By the time the house was emptied, my family was left standing outside with nothing but the clothes on their backs. The final humiliation came when they tried to walk back inside, and security blocked them. What the hell is this? My father barked. You're trespassing, I said calmly, folding my arms. This is my property. You're not welcome here anymore. My brother looked stunned. You're actually kicking us out? Yes. But where will we go? I met his desperate gaze and tilted my head. Not my problem. My mother broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. My father clenched his fists, looking like he wanted to punch something. My brother shook his head in disbelief. I turned away, stepping inside my house, feeling nothing but satisfaction as I shut the door behind me. They had stolen from me, lied to me, betrayed me. Now they were the ones left with nothing. The fallout from their betrayal was worse than they could have imagined. The lawsuit drained them financially. They had to pay back the buyer, cover legal fees, and compensate for damages. Every penny they thought they had gained was gone, and then some. News spread quickly. In our community, reputation meant everything, and theirs was now in ruins. Everyone knew what they had done, how they had stolen from their own daughter, their own sister, and tried to profit off my inheritance. Friends distanced themselves. Business partners backed away. No one wanted to be associated with them. They had lost everything. And then when they had nowhere else to turn, they came crawling back to me. It started with text messages. Then phone calls. Then one evening they actually showed up at the house, standing on the same porch they had once thought was theirs. My mother spoke first, her voice trembling. Sweetheart, we have nothing left. My father, always too proud, avoided my gaze, but I could see the desperation in his eyes. My brother looked like he hadn't slept in days. We just need a little help, my mother pleaded. A loan, anything. We're still family. I leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. I could see the way their eyes darted around, taking in the house, the fresh paint, the new windows. Yes, I had renovated it. With my own money, I had restored everything my grandmother had loved about this place. I had polished the wooden floors she had once walked on. I had planted the flowers she adored. I had turned the house into something even more beautiful, a symbol of my survival. And now, the same people who had tried to steal it from me were standing outside, begging. I took a slow sip from my tea, letting the silence stretch. Then finally I spoke. You had a house once, I said. You had everything you needed. But you got greedy. My mother sniffled. We made a mistake. I smiled. And now you're paying for it. My brother stepped forward. Come on. You don't really want us to suffer, do you? I tilted my head. Did any of you care when I was suffering? When I came home to find my things gone, my house stolen? Silence. I sighed and took another sip of tea. I think we're done here. I turned, stepping back inside, and just before I shut the door I whispered, "This house is finally where it belongs." Then I locked them out, forever.